My name is Douglas Grummins. Thank you for joining us again. Today I'm going to continue the reading from the book Wheels, Part 5. And just in case this is the first video that you're watching of the series, I'll fill you in a little bit. The book Wheels was inspired by the song Watching the Wheels, written by John Lennon. I think it was one afternoon when I was driving home from work, I was listening to Watching the Wheels by John Lennon. And the similarities between the song and how I felt about Taoism were strikingly familiar, and that was my inspiration for starting this work. I felt that the work that I'd made in this book, what I'd written, was so important, so deep and meaningful that I just really couldn't wait, and I wanted to share it with everyone as soon as I could. So let's get into the work. We left off with John singing, "I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. I really love to watch them roll." And I comment, "The Western religions have always said the heart is where the real center from which existence functions, yet we don't know how to reach the heart. Eastern religions dove into the inner world, and they have discovered 7 major energy centers they call chakras. The lowest is the root chakra, and the highest is the crown chakra. The heart lies precisely in the middle. There are 3 chakras above and 3 chakras below the heart, and the path starts with the root. Just as plants start life's journey from the roots, our spiritual path to the heart starts from the root. We think we can reach the heart using our brains, like some sort of direct connection from the brain to the heart exists. In reality, there are many more nerves going to the brain from the heart than from the brain to the heart. Unfortunately, no one can force the heart to love by using the brain, and nor can anyone be forced to love someone else in this way, because the bridge does not exist. If you love someone, the feeling can only come from the heart. Now, it is true that love can be born from a different center, the sex center, which is close to the root center, where love can blossom from. Love can be born out of lust, because lust is nothing but energy coming from the second chakra. Lust is a lower form of love, so it should not be condemned. It is but the first rung on the ladder. Tantra, a branch of Buddhism, is all about transforming lust into love. It does not stop at love, however. It goes much farther and much deeper. True Tantra teaches you how to transform your love into prayer, and prayer into union with the divine. Christians have a term for this union called unio mystica, the union with the divine. The heart is the real master. It is how we are connected with existence. But how can you know this? Everything you have been conditioned with pushes you away from any connection with the heart. Tao says, be here and now, and let that cycle continually repeat, always staying with the only moment you have. Zen says the same thing, except meditate with awareness as the subject. Zen says, let every single moment be your religion. At first, forcing yourself to take time to sit and just enjoy yourself in a couple moments with no thought or not doing anything might feel like a lot of effort. As time goes on, it gets easier with each session. Then, when you have meditated enough, the jump occurs, not out of practice, but out of love. Meditation takes you out of the mind and brings you first to the heart and then to your real center, which is your being. Let me explain it like this. The other day, I took my girlfriend and a friend on a little surfing getaway. We went to Surfside Beach in Texas. The waves were pumping 4 to 5 feet solid walls. The paddle out at Surfside is really tough. I've heard it said that if you can paddle out at Surfside on a big day, then you can paddle out anywhere in the United States. There are no channels to get out, and you have to paddle through about a quarter mile of rough white water. My girlfriend Valerie was very nervous and thought she would not make it out past all the large waves. My other friend was pretty stocky. He used to be a football player and a martial artist, so I wasn't worried about him not making it out. I took Valerie aside and I said to her, "Trust me, you can do it. Just trust me." So all 3 of us started paddling out. I gave Valerie a little push to get her past the large walls, but she still had about 50 yards of large oncoming walls to navigate through. I stayed behind her the whole time, but she made it out without little help. Once we made it out, we kept looking for our friend, but he never made it out. He could not get past the walls of white water that kept pounding down on him, continually pushing him back. Every foot forward he gained, he was pushed back 5 feet. After Val and I finished surfing, I pulled my friend aside and I asked, "What happened?" I said, he said, "I got skunked. I could not do it." So I told him, "It's not about strength. You are 10 times stronger than I am. The first thing is you have to want it bad enough. You have to get a little crazy and let all the things on land stay on land. All your demons have to be faced, and then it will happen." I also told him the ocean has a rhythm, and you have to match that rhythm. In a sense, you have to feel the rhythm, and then you have to fall in love with it. Once you make the shift to love, then you can paddle out with almost no effort. The same applies with meditation. First, you have to get over some walls. Then you have to get a little crazy. This craziness is letting it all go. Then fall in love with it. Once this happens, your life will never be the same. Because Valerie had seen the waves on the outside, there was a force inside driving her, pushing her past every obstacle from it. In meditation, at first, stillness of the mind is like getting past large waves for surfers. After all, thoughts are nothing but waves, some large and some not so large. Sometimes it helps when someone gives you a push past all those waves. This is where a master comes in, but you have to be able to trust him or her. Once you get past the waves of thoughts, you not only get off the merry-go-round dissolves altogether. Then you will be able to sit and watch all the other people still on the merry-go-round. You will become contagious, and more people will pick up on your vibration. The same vibration the ocean gives off is the same vibration the sky gives off. People will be drawn to you because the space between your heartbeats is full of compassion for everything and everyone else on the planet. The electromagnetic frequencies given off by a meditator are the same frequencies a real surfer gives off to those who are just learning to surf. Deep down, we really want you to be out in the water, riding waves, and sharing the vibes with us. The Hawaiians call this vibe aloha spirit. Jumping away from the text a little bit, I have to go out and say that not a lot of surfers are really, I guess, what you would call the meditative type. You would think a lot of surfers view those people as kooks. A kook is a person to me who does something whose heart's not really in it, or they don't know anything about. They're brand new and disrespectful. They have no knowledge of anything that was going on. And one should know in any lineup in the water, and a lineup is where surfers gathered at the better surfing spots to catch the better waves. But whenever there's two, three, four, five more surfers that really know how to surf, it's called a lineup. And usually in a lineup, there's a pecking order, and the best guy, the king of the day, he gets his choice of the waves, and then the other guys that are a little bit lower, they have to eat up the scraps. And sometimes when the waves are really big and going off, nobody wants a person near them that doesn't know what they're doing. Someone that's either disrespectful or has no care or awareness in the water to know what he's doing. And the danger is that you could hurt somebody. You could hurt another surfer. You could break their board. Anything can happen out there. So surfers tend to stay away from kooks. But this is where I say that meditators are not kooks, because those that meditate bring in more awareness. And that's what every surfer needs out in the water, is more awareness, to get out of that tunnel vision, to look to the left and look to the right, or even have a peripheral vision to your left and to your right as you're taking a wave. That makes a person non-kook. So let's get back into the text. One might ask me, why should I get off the merry-go-round? And all I can say is, why not you? Getting off the merry-go-round does not mean giving up on all your belongings and living like hippies. No, it simply means stop wanting more than what you need and turn your attention inwards. Imagine pouring water into a bowl, and when the bowl is full, then you stop pouring. There are people out there that do not stop. They keep on pouring, and the water flows over the bowl. For some, the water floods their whole house. This mentality is a sickness. Get out of the sickness and get out of the madness you are surrounded with. It starts with one step or jump, depending on how fast the merry-go-round is spinning. When enough people realize the madness, the mental illness of all those millions of people who are spinning out of control, then the world will come to understand the teachings of men like Jesus or John Lennon, or even someone with an insightful documentary like Tom Shadyac. If Jesus were alive and living, he would ask us all, "What happened to my words? Blessed be the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Have we not learned from history? We function much better as a society when we are compassionate, loving, and giving. If you do not have money to give, then give in other ways. Even if it is just a smile, that smile could change a person's whole day, or maybe their whole life could change just because you smiled at them. Do not worry about the negative repercussions of the gift you give, and don't ever ask for anything in return. I say, don't ever ask or look for something good to come from your gift. This is a trap for those who will wish to stay on the merry-go-round. No, giving is the gift, and it will spread like wildfire. I am sharing my writing. This book contains the tiny amounts of wisdom I have gathered along the path I call life or love for life. This is my prayer to you. I'm just a crazy older man living by the sea. Will you not join me sitting on the beach enjoying the beauty of the morning sun? I just had to let it all go. In my second book, Songs of the Buddhas, I describe the analogy of a person's soul to crossing a river. With this book, I'd like to further the teaching. There are two types of souls. The first souls are that of the white sheep. Those on the path of the white sheep never depart from the path. That is their way. God loves those people just as much as he does the black sheep or the lost sheep. The black sheep really does not have a path, nor does he care for a path. And this is the way of the black sheep. They are the second type of souls. The first type of soul would never open this book or read the lessons derived by Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu left no religion to follow, and the first type of soul is an obedient follower. The second type of soul would be able to understand the ways of the Tao. Not that the second type of soul is disobedient. No, the second type of soul has a desire to know things. It is only the perspective of the obedient soul that makes the second look disobedient. To the obedient soul, the second type of soul looks like a sinner. I know I'm opening a can of worms with this subject, so I'll do my best to explain. It all depends on which type of soul you are. For the white sheep soul, disobedience looks like a sin because of his conditioning and his outlook. In Songs of the Buddhas, I explained there are certain souls who either have never entered the river of the mind, or they have, and they chose to stay with the first innocence, or the first shore of the river. These souls I call white sheep. When a soul of the white sheep grows spiritually, they are able to actually walk through life without sinking in the river of the mind. They have a certain purity, which allows them to defy gravity. If their faith is true to their core, and they have total trust in existence or God, they could literally walk across the river's surface. Their feet would get wet, but it is possible for them to levitate across the entire river and make it to the other shore. St. Francis did it, and many others from the West who are not well known at all have all made it. The term walking on water in Jesus' days could have referred to this type of lifestyle. Christians have taken it literally, but it's more beautiful to know that Jesus walked on water his whole life, even while he was on dry land. And this is the soul of the white sheep. They are obedient, loyal, trustworthy, and beautiful souls. The problem with society and religion is that all people are told that they are this first type, the white sheep. They love this because they feel at harmony with large groups. They feel at peace when surrounded by others who share their love. And to white sheep, this love is called devotion. Now, the black sheep has a different outlook. To him, being in a group of many harmonizing sheep creates friction in his soul. So he ventures out to find a different harmony. He needs something else, and he is not afraid to enter the river, even at the risk of losing his soul or his life. The black sheep have a different makeup when it comes to intelligence. To the black sheep, disobedience is not a sin or a stumbling stone. They soon learn the rocks in the road are just stepping stones. For the white sheep, What would be a sin is looked at as virtue to the black sheep. They want to know what the outcome will be when they act on something. For the black sheep, there are three levels of spirituality: dependence, independence, and then the way of the Tao says that there is one more level of dependence. The Taoists call this interdependence, which, when passed through, leads one to understanding interconnectedness. The first level is dependence. Once a soul is taught the difference between good and evil, then a division develops within your soul. Once this division happens, then you are subjective to religion, and the priests who claim to know a way beyond this division. Do you see the ridiculousness of it? First, they create the division, then they claim to know the only way out from it. And once you are divided, then you are totally dependent on whatever people say about everything, including God. We are forced to be dependent. Then, when we are young, because we had no choice in the matter, after many years of this forced upon idealism of what religion is, they start to repel. Up to this point, everyone behaved like white sheep. Then something happens in their lives, or they just mature differently to the point where they are fed up or tired with this imposed way of thought. So many make a 180-degree turn and move inward. Instead of being dependent on others, they want to try being independent. The Tao says this is just another stage in your development. Sooner or later, they start to learn that no one can be totally independent. For the Western mind, these are the only two choices: dependency and independency. Lao Tzu's wisdom goes deeper than the Western mind. He says there is one more level, and the Taoists call it being interdependent, meaning that they understand that we cannot exist without God, and nor can God exist without us. And the Tao says everything is God, therefore everything is dependent upon everything else. And this is how the black sheep comes to harmonize with existence. A certain rhythm develops within their souls, and then they learn to walk on water all the way to the other shore. Well, I think we've thrown enough at you for now. We'll stop the reading of the book here and continue on in the next part 6. But before we end our talk, I wanted to share with you something really deep. What I want to say is that a lot of people are asking you to trust them. Down the ages, religions have said, trust me, just trust me, without any inquiry, just blind faith, believing what they say. And now scientists are kind of making the same mistakes. No matter how great the argument is, a theory is just a theory. It's not proven. It's not a proven fact until it's actually proven. And both sides are going to come up with graphs and charts and pictures and all kinds of evidence to support their claim, to support their theory. What you need to remember is that the scientist does have science on his side, and every day they are gaining territory and learning more about the unknown. But I ask you to remember that a theory is a theory, and the scientists are just as blind as the believers. The atheist is just as blind as the theist is. And arguing about the existence of God, whether God exists or not, doesn't help. The only thing that can actually help is for you to gain insight, to gain understanding, and to subjectively come to know the truth yourself. That's the only way. You have to experience it for yourself. So rather than just blindly trusting anything that anybody says, even my words, even the words that I'm putting out on these videos, rather than just believing, experiment. Take your time. Try meditation. Try finding gaps between thoughts. Close your eyes, go inside with your eyes closed, and just watch your thoughts. Let them pass by. Don't add fuel to your thoughts. Just watch them. They may be a lot of thoughts at one time, but just let that happen. Don't rush it. It's like a rain cloud full of rain. It'll eventually run out of rain and disappear. And that's the way it is with meditation. But allow the gaps to happen. It's okay to focus on the gap and put your attention on the gap between thoughts. At first, it might be like a hair of a second, a split second. But then the gaps will grow. The gaps will go larger and larger. And when the gaps get up to like a minute or two, a lot of bliss comes in and it changes your life. Buddha's most famous meditation was watching the breath with your eyes closed. Just feel the air come in, be aware of the air coming in, then stop, wait for a second, feel that gap, and then breathe out and let the air go out. So just concentrate on the breath. Watch it come in, take a breath, hold it, watch it go out. Just be aware of the air going out, and then watch and be aware of the air coming in, and just follow the breath and let that be your only thought. And let that thought launch you into no thought. That is the last stepping stone to follow the breath. And the breath is there because it doesn't stop. If breath stops, then you stop. We stop. So I'm asking you to be courageous, have courage, and experiment. Experiment with what I say. Experiment with what the scientist says. Experiment with what the thief says. And let your experimentation be scientific, you know. Whatever the theory is, just be scientific towards your approach. Give it a chance. Try it. It's only through experimentation that you'll fail or succeed. Anyway, thank you for joining me again. It's been a pleasure. We'll pick up the reading again on the next part. But one more time, thank you, and